We're recording right now? Like, whoa, this is all secret. All my secret projects are out and everything, including my piston rings and door handles and head bolt set for a Toyota car I'm rebuilding. I mean, wow, what a convenient time to tell you, don't forget to subscribe. I got a whole bunch of awesome things coming up soon. Trying really hard to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. But let's get into this giant right here. Thanks for watching, guys. I mean, I can't lie, man. This is probably like one of my new favorite builds for sure. I wish it was just a tidge smaller. I would keep it and not change a single thing really. Turns out, you know, my main point of making this video was how good is this Shimano RSX. It's the one time ever. I've dealt with a lot of bikes. I've been a mechanic a long time. The only time I've ever seen a full group of Shimano RSX that I could actually get my hands on and take it apart and see how it all weighs and everything. First things first, I wanted to point out was the brakes. Only a 50-gram difference between these original RSX brakes and a 6500 Ultegra 9-speed. That's like from early 2000s to like 2005, somewhere around there. And those are about 65 bucks on eBay. Only 50-gram difference, pretty interesting fact to know. They stop great. If you do not like these monoblock pads, as I mentioned in part 1, if you didn't see that, you should check that out. You can replace these with some cartridge style. They take like an actual brake shoe that bolts in there and cartridges slide in and out. You could get way better pads as well there. So good thing to think of if that's your route. And you can see we've changed aesthetically everything from, you know, besides the group set, because I did want to keep most of that. And I think the 90s look is just like at an all-time high right now, and I love it, man. The shifters cleaned out, no problem. I dumped them in like hot water in the sink, and I just blasted them with hot water after they sat for a while too with my sprayer, so it was nice and hot pressure. I could just literally see chunks coming out in the water, so I knew I was off to a great start. Soaked in WD-40 after that with cables in the shifters to keep pressure on it. Broke it down again, cleaned it out again, so on and so forth. I have a whole video on this process, but basically doing that, you know, less than 20 minutes or so, and they're nice and lubed back up without that hard crap in there. I won't have that problem again in the future. One issue the bike did have before too was terrible cable job. One of the reasons I'm sure it wasn't ridden very much, because I guarantee you it was mis-shifting all over the place. I didn't even bother riding it. But yeah, we went ahead and recabled the bike, and that actually, not only did it save us a bunch of weight, but I mean, the bike, that's what I'm saying, I would love to keep this bike because it shifts so good, man. A lot of people hate on the triples. I always say a good mechanic can set up a good triple and you won't have problems, but man, it's just shocking how smooth this is from being from, you know, 1995. I was very impressed with that. The one thing we did do was change the cassette. I did gain a tiny bit. It was only 60 grams or so, something like that. But we did go monstrous. Whenever you go bigger in size, you're always going to gain weight. It's more material. So that's kind of obvious, but we went from a tiny 1124 cassette to a 1430. I honestly thought I had a smaller 8-speed that I just pulled off of a bike, but I forgot I had already used it. But you get an 8-speed cassette of your size, pull the 11 tooth off, and boom, you got a brand new 7-speed on there. You could probably even lose weight from the stock one if you got like the opportunity to go buy something. I didn't have time. This is my parts bin, and you know, part of being a budget build, you stick to the budget build nature. And so one thing I did do, by the way, too, was strip the whole frame down. The rear derailleur got torn off, cleaned all the way up, and I weighed that too. Not bad at all. I was pretty surprised at how nice that came out to be. 297 grams for this long cage rear derailleur. I also have an Ultegra 9-speed, and that one weighed 220 grams. That's, you know, kind of an expensive piece there again too. Talking second best that Shimano makes. You know, this is what I was honestly thinking in the part 1 video. This is probably gonna be like Tiagra level, which is still good for then. You know, a lot of mid-level bikes came with Tiagra. This is more and more impressive as, you know, I just get going on. I didn't take the chain rings off from the crank and all of that, but I did get measurements online. But as you can see, I hit it with some mother's polish all over. It looks real nice. So I left it as is. As I didn't get a chance to weigh it or anything. I'm suspecting, based on the weights of everything else, that is also going to be some pretty good mid-level stuff compared to, you know, what you're going to find out on eBay for a decent price today. This is why I like to do this, because the budget tips and tricks, man, it really makes it a lot more fun to build a bike that you can afford, and then you actually don't feel like it's like a financial disaster every time you're on it because you pay too much. One thing I was impressed with was this Fsa headset. Very cool little unit with a like double locking mechanism on the top nut. Pretty neat. I had a little funky spacer, you know, gotta keep our 90 vibes real as usual. One thing I did do to improve the look was give it a black C-post and a upgraded, more modern cutout saddle from Zito. That C-post actually saved us a ton of weight. I was very impressed. This is like what you usually find in here. It's going to be a steel head with like a really terrible adjuster piece here and like a pretty heavy aluminum C-post, and not good at all. The C-post actually coming out weighing 370 grams. Let me put this down. But the new one from BBB is just triple B, 245 grams. It's a 6066 series. So your normal aluminum is 6061. It's just a touch better. It's going to be a lot lighter. 107 makes something that I bet you is probably about 10 grams less or so, and it's like $25. You could also go carbon C-post as well, 200 grams, and those are about 30 bucks. So something to think out. I'll have links to all of this in the description. One big other thing we changed here, you'll notice, is the cockpit, and we went with a threadless conversion. This is actually a heavy one because it's something I had off of another bike that came with one. I replaced it with a lighter one. So this is not the best unit to have, and I was actually pretty surprised. This is a decent stem, nothing too bad, all old Cannondale stem, but it's lightweight, but it's still off a mountain bike. But it does the job, and that's all that matters. Size and everything is not about the same. You get a little bit more upright angle. You can see this one's got a pretty steep down angle. It gives you a lot more adjustability. Also, the weight between those was only 410 grams compared to 340 grams. So, you know, like I said, the weight was actually pretty close, and it came out to being pretty nice there. I was impressed. Of course, we did the gold chain mafia. You ain't got a gold chain, you ain't in the gang. That's just how it is. Everybody knows that on this channel. Always run the gold chain. You'll find it in the description. One neat little trick that I did too, the straps were pretty horrendous. So those are like some heavy ones with some real cracked steel buckle and all of that. Trash that, get you some upgraded vinyl ones, save weight on that as well. And then you still have the ability to, you know, it's nice to have it as a commuter, but then you could also go racing on a bike like this on the weekends if you chose to, and you don't have to have expensive clip-in shoes or any of that nonsense, especially if you're commuting. That's kind of a pain. Now, from what's trying to interrupt me over here, our wheels and tires. That's like the number one thing I wanted to talk about. Our final weight ended up being 23.1 pounds. I'm almost positive that's it. It's right around that area. Same thing, pedals on and all of that. No trying to like cheat and, you know, cut weight like they do when new bike doesn't count weight of pedals. So I guarantee you if you took these off, it would save close to another pound as well. So you're really right at the 20-pound mark. With this still having a fairly heavy aluminum frame, aluminum fork in it with a likely steel steerer, I would guarantee you that would probably almost lose a pound if you've got like a vintage carbon fork. Those are a pretty cool thing to add on. Gives it a real nice like funk look to it. With you got little bits of nude carbon sticking out here on the top and the top tube and the down tube. It would be neat to have a little bit more to like flow throughout the bike, but those are a little expensive, and like I said, we just went with what we got. The big thing though, our Gumball tires, one of my favorite things. Always the life of a vintage bike. Gotta always have them if you can. These are some Specialized turbos. My favorite ones to go to, if I could get a hold of some new ones, are some Michelins. Those are some sweet ones. You could check those out. The Regatta wheels, or Regetta, however you say it, they look awesome, but man, they are killing this bike. Oh boy. And I know how to talk about something being heavy. They're for real heavy though, man. I also stripped down the wheels, took the skewers out, no tubes and tires when I was swapping them over, threw them on the scale to see, you know, how much more could the bike lose, not just talking about like future projects like the fork, you know, but serious, easy peasy, slamming a new set of wheels you find on Craigslist, buy a cheap set on Amazon Prime, boom, 3 days they're at your house. This is exactly what I have on my Cervelo you could check out in this video. They only come out to be 640 grams for $125. Yeah, $125. That's crazy to think for $125 you could swap that out, because these bad boys ended up being 200, or no, let me rephrase that. 2,230 grams. Yes, you heard that correct. 2,230 grams. That is a very, very heavy wheel set. If you swap those Amazon wheel set on right now, you would save 1.3 pounds. I'm sorry, 1 pound 3 ounces. That's an insane amount of weight to drop for the wheels. Generally, a bike with this kind of good components would have around 1,900, 2,000 grams. And that's still a little on the heavy side. So, love these bad boys, but they are definitely like some heavy duty trainer wheels. They're also 32 spokes of wheels, so you know, you're paying for that too, but I have a very big feeling it's those rims. The Aero aluminum is probably just a big hunk of alloy, something that's not that great. But I mean, dude, they're gold. They're on the bike. They're true as anything. I mean, they just spin forever. It's really, you know, I can't complain. The bike came out gorgeous. I hope you guys love the bike as much as me. Thanks for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe. Have a good one, guys. Bye.